Hello everybody, welcome to another video, and today we're going to be looking at two new books from Simon Miller over at Big Red Bat, of course author of To the Strongest and To the Strongest for King and Parliament. Simon has sent these over to me to have a look at, and that's what we're going to do. So this is the Celtic Fringe and Montrose, To Win or Lose It All. Now these are all related to the battles in the English Civil War, or the Wars of the Three Kingdoms, set in Scotland and Ireland from 1638 to 1652. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a flip through these. Now these are expansions for To the Strongest for King and Parliament. I don't nearly play as much of this as I should, but this is really piquing my interest and may very well get me to do some battles. So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to have a look at the Celtic Fringe, and then we'll have a look at the Montrose book. Okay, so the Celtic Fringe. So essentially this book is a guide to wargaming the period. So this is almost a companion to the period, whereas the other book is essentially a campaign book with scenarios. So this one here will give you hints and tips on how to play, special rules to consider, units to consider, and things like that. Now the first thing I'd like to say about this, and what I love about the To the Strongest books and other books as well, is it's spiral bound, which is fantastic, and I wish more rule books did this so that you can just do that and simply have it lying flat on your surface. I really do wish more rule books did this, so 2 thumbs up for that. Definitely. Lovely cover art, really nice. And something I'd like to say actually about this book, going through it, the production value in this is top notch, and there is some fantastic artwork in here to inspire you. So the book is very simply laid out. It'll give you a nice introduction and then basically just get stuck into optional markers and rules. Now bear in mind, of course, that this book here is a guide to wargaming, and you don't necessarily have to take on everything in here. You could pick and choose as you want to. So for example, in here you have rules for attached bow units, attached shot units, what to do with permanent disorder, more rules for Highlanders and downhill charges, and the entire book is just, quite honestly, just set out in a very logical fashion. As I've read through these, I really haven't found myself having to, leaf through the book to find another rule that has been referenced somewhere else. Everything has just been where I expected it to be. There's optional units in here as well, such as the Scottish Royalist Pike and Shot, Highlanders, as you would expect, Forlorn Hope, ideas for how you can substitute units. It's a really nice little companion piece, and you have all of the stats that you need set out here as well. Of course, you can't have an expansion about the wars in the Highlands without the Highlanders, but what I really do like is there's some rules in here for the Irish brigades in Scotland as well. This is really making me think about potentially using the epic Pike and Shot, but using it for the King and Parliament. McCullough's Lifeguard are represented there, and if this is your thing, or if you're looking for essentially some inspiration, then this book is going to be well worth picking up. Now this book is £9 over on the Big Red Bat book, the Big Red Bat website for the physical edition. So go over there and you will be able to find that. I'll leave a link down below, and to be honest, I think that's a fantastic price for what is essentially just a really well laid out little companion piece. Right, now let's have a look at the big brother, which is Montrose, To Win or Lose It All. Now this is a bigger book. This is a campaign book, essentially full of scenarios. It's a lot thicker than the other one, and this one will set you back £22 for the physical edition. And again, the links are down below. You have the same really nice spiral bound book binding for this, and to be honest, for this kind of book, that is really nice, because you can do this like this, set it out, flip things over, there's all your references as you need them, and then you can just lay it flat as well. So, as you may have guessed, I really like a spiral-bound rulebook. I just think they're the best. So here we go, Montrose. There he is. And there are 9 scenarios in here to cover the wars in Scotland. They are split into 1 what-if scenario and then 8 historical scenarios. And those 8 historical scenarios can be played in 2 4-part escalating campaigns. And what's really nice in here, and I wish more campaign books did this, you have this chart right at the start with all of the scenarios listed, and it essentially tells you what figures you're going to require for the whole book, for the whole campaign. So if we look down here, so commanded shot, a small unit of commanded shot, we need 2 for Justice Mill, 1 for this battle, 3 for this battle, 2, 3, etc. I think that's really good because you can get together with your mates or with your opponent and actually just go down and figure out what you've got to do, because you've just got this handy chart right at the start. You don't have to flip through to every single scenario and sort of just go through, oh no, we haven't got that, yes we have, no we haven't. It's all laid out at the start, so it's something to think about actually for other supplement writers. This is really handy, or I think it is anyway. There's a nice section on the background for the wars, basically setting out what's going on, setting out who is the Marquis of Montrose, who is Alistair McCullough and Archbishop Campbell. So it's all set out, but it's not too impenetrable. It's simply just, just sets the scene. So if you're just looking for a light history and a sort of an introduction, then this would be really the way to go. And I should probably say this is going to ruin where I am in the book, but if you actually go to the end, there is then suggested reading lists for you if you wanted to dive deeper into that. And again, this is something that I really like to see, especially in historical wargaming. You could still do it in fantasy and other wargaming, but suggested reading, where to go if you want to find out more, is always helpful. I think sometimes people just assume that everyone is going to know where to go straight away, and particularly if you're looking at things like I do for the Wars of the Roses, there's so many sources out there that sometimes people can be a bit lost. So having something like that from the author of the rules might just set somebody in the right direction. So again, I think that's really good. As before, this is set out in a really, really nice sort of way. We have a key here for all of the maps that are coming up for how to set everything out, and that is something that I want to have a look at. So each of the scenarios, so if we start with this one here, as you can see, Ban v Burn, it sets out the deployment notes. If you're used to playing for King and Parliament, for To the Strongest, then obviously this will make a lot more sense to you. I do need to go back and play it a little bit more, but what I really like about this are the campaign maps like this one here. Now, there is nothing at all to stop you using this expansion or this campaign book rather, to play using other game systems. I know this is written for To the Strongest and for King and Parliament, but here you have a scenario. You would have to obviously, just step in and, change the rules, but it basically lists off what you have and what you need, and you could easily set up a battlefield here, for example, for pike and shot. So here we have, for Ban v Burn, we have the battle map that just shows where everyone is going to deploy. Now, those of you who are familiar with To the Strongest and for King of Parliament will know that it is a tapeless, diceless game. Everything is on grid squares, which are kind of like hidden grids on a board. So a unit will just move forward 1, or it will go forward 2, and it will shoot 3 spaces, or so on and so forth. Now, I have to say that when you initially say that to somebody, it really, really confuses them. But when you've played To the Strongest a few times, it really, really does make sense and does let you play really large battles in a relatively short space of time. If you're like me and you're intrigued, then it's definitely a system worth checking out, especially if you've got all those lovely epic miniatures and you want to try out something a little bit different. After each map, there are the stats for both of the armies that are involved. So there's Athol and there's McCullough. And basically the book just goes from one scenario to the other, giving the briefings for each of the forces, the battle maps. What's really nice here is design notes. I think it's really interesting when you actually have this and you can basically get into the mind of the person that's written the scenario, because you might basically see something in here that they've added and you might want to take that out, or you might give you ideas for other periods as well and ideas about how you can adopt things. I'm not going to go through every single scenario because, as you can see, it is very, very well stocked with information, and if you are basically into this, then I would encourage you to come and buy it. Even if you aren't playing for King and Parliament, I think this would be a fantastic resource if you were playing other games like the Kingdom of Czars or Pike and Shot. Once you've gone through all the scenarios, you will have notes at the back about how to run this as a campaign, a number of ways to do it, ideas how to run it like a simple campaign, and basically other ideas about how to make some things more extensive, how to use campaign points, and then of course scenario benefits and achievements. And if you play to the strongest, that will mean more to you, like the use of prestige in between games. So it's very, very to the point, and I like that. As I say, there we are again, the suggested reading list, a conclusion, just to basically conclude. What else is it going to do? Everything that they've put together, and this fantastic picture with the Royal Standard of Scotland. So that is very nice. At the back, something else which again I really like is Simon has included all of these ECW scenario books. And again, if you are interested in the English Civil War and you're looking for scenario ideas, then go and have a look at these scenarios and unit cards and things like that. You can find over at Big Red Bat. Again, I'll leave the link down below, because it can certainly give you a lot of ideas. There we have it. So there we go. There is a really, really quick look at the Montrose, To Win or Lose It All, and the Celtic Fringe. Now, both of these are available now over on the Big Red Bat website. I am severely tempted to basically organise and have another game of To the Strongest. I don't know whether I would film it and put it on the channel. I'd be a bit rusty to begin with, but I would really like to do this. I have to see if I can convince Miller to have a game. Anyway, guys, I say just a nice quick one today, but if you guys are interested in this, let me know what you think down below, and I will see you all again soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.